Good morning and welcome to Jane's Gems. Hello again. Today, bit of a different one. We're going to do an upcycle. One of my friends has asked me to make her a necklace, bracelet and earring set based on a set that I made for my best friend some time ago. So I have picked some pieces of jewellery out of my stash that are ripe for upcycling. So here we have a bracelet. I'm sure you can see elastic has completely gone. This long necklace has got glass pearls and sparkly crystal beads interspersed with very small seed beads. This one I've had up for sale in my shop in Snodland and it just hasn't sold. So it might as well be upcycled. We have this necklace, which I think might have been a Marks and Spencer's one, but I don't know if you can see, these silver metal parts are starting to tarnish quite badly and discolour. And also they're not very comfortable to wear. They're a bit lumpy. Anyway, so that one's another one for the upcycle. That was the matching pair of earrings that came with it. I don't know if you can see, but the silver there has completely rusted. It's covered in rust, so they need to come apart. This black choker length necklace with glass beads is starting to gap out. The cord is starting to sort of give a bit. And then there's this bracelet. Also, the elastic is very, very loose, and the charm is interestingly not attached. So these are going to be our victims for the upcycle, and we shall start taking them apart and seeing exactly what beads and components we've got. Let me grab a pair of scissors. And set some of these aside. So as I said, the object is to make a necklace, 3 elasticated bracelets, make a little stack, and a pair of earrings. Start taking these apart. And we'll try and keep them by size, so quite nice to use a little bowl where you can keep like for like pieces together. I think I'm quite lucky in that most of these are on sort of cord or thread. And I'll keep all the connectors as a little magnetic clasp and see what I want to use when I get to the end. And put the cord in the bin. Probably going to need another pop in a moment. What's this one strung on? Oh, it's strung on wire, I think. Let's see if the scissors are strong enough to, yep, easily strong enough to cut that. I like to take things apart in a bowl with a rubberised mat on the bottom so they don't all run away on me. And then I'll keep, another one of those connectors, I'll keep this clasp, upcycle as much as we possibly can. So literally just getting rid of the cords. Pop that in there. Right, this one's going to take a little bit longer to sort out because you've got the bigger beads. And then the smaller beads. And these little metal connectors. That's my friend is not really a pearl type of girl, so when I take the pearl necklace apart for the clear beads, I'll set the pearls aside for another project. And as I say, these pieces have started to tarnish and discolour, so I'll set them aside. I might go through them and see if there's any I can reuse, but to be honest, I wouldn't want to put something that's going to tarnish into one of my projects, so they will probably go into metal recycling. Let's just move them out of the way. And then there's this one. That won't take much to undo. It's got some nice rhinestone spacer beads in there. And I've got some more of those rhinestone spacer beads in my stash, so we can use those as part of our plan. You're going to need another space to put things. Get these all sorted out. In case you're wondering, let's just zoom you out a bit. This mat is actually for a watercolour artist, and these little wells, this is a silicone mat so beads don't run around on it. These little wells over here are for paints, and this thing is totally machine washable, but it does mean the beads don't run around. And this little china tray is also for a little palette tray for watercolour painting. My daughter did a degree in art, and I've got several bits and pieces left over from those days, which make life, they're very useful pieces, makes life easy. Right, and last but not least, the pearl necklace. This has no clasp on it, but it does have some knotting in it where I think it was starting to fray and someone's done it up, so possibly another reason that it didn't sell in the shop. There you go. There's little knots in it every so often, so I think it was ready to be upcycled. Oh, and there's another little knot here. Okay, so we have some seed beads with this one, which is quite nice. And I have more seed beads in my stash. Let's get this one apart. Here we go. So the pearls are going to be put aside for another project another day. And then we can start planning what we're going to make. I'll turn you off for a minute and finish doing this and come back to you in a moment. And that's got those all apart. We've got the clear beads and the seed beads. They're actually quite a greeny sort of grey. And last but not least, we're going to take these earrings apart. We could upcycle them just as they are, but like I say, they've got some rust to them, so we might as well have the beads off this. I'm pretty sure they were the matching ones to one of the necklaces, so hopefully they'll be the same size. And of course I'm not going to reuse any of this wire that's gone rusty, so don't need to take care of it. It's just going to go in the metal recycling box. I'm going to snip off this end. You need to put your hands over it and make sure, obviously, that nothing flies up into your eyes. It's defeating me. Maybe I just need to open it up a bit. There we go. And we can have those beads. I think that those, nope, they're smaller than those. They're the same size as these ones. Nope, bigger than those. Those two are a different size. And those are the same size as those. Great, so that's all their beads sorted out. And we've got some pearls, some glass pearls to use in another project. Next stage, get the planning board out and start planning. I'll get the bead board out. I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, if you don't have a beading board, it doesn't matter. You can either just plan out your necklace directly onto the wire, or you can just sort of lay your beads out on a towel so they don't roll away. Not essential to have one of these. Now, this is just a matter of deciding what you like. I quite liked the black beads with the sparkly spaces in between. So I think I might start with those in the middle as a focal. And then, are these bigger? Actually, those are bigger. These are really big beads. Maybe you should have the biggest beads in the middle. Quite like those. But maybe we should have... I like to work in groups of 3 or 5. So let's just try... putting those with some clear crystal beads in the middle and having the black beads to the side. With the sparklers either side. What do you think? Wonder how that'll look. To make the big beads as the focal. I would have used this bead, but it's got quite a bit of wear to it as a as a bit of interest, but it's just too worn. Now I wonder if we should go from there to using some of the smaller sparkly beads interspersed with the black beads. This is just a matter of playing around. You play around till you've got the pattern that you like. So we'll do 3 black beads up there, and 1, 2, 3 black beads up there. And you can thread this onto a wire, decide you don't like it, take it off again and try something totally different. It's entirely up to you to find a pattern that you like and that you're happy with. Obviously this is a very sparkly necklace. I'm just going to... and I'm aiming for this necklace. It's supposed to be quite a short necklace, so I'm aiming for about a 16-inch necklace in total. And I'll put an extension chain onto it so that it can be adjusted from 16 to 18 inches. What do you think? Shall we try that onto a piece of wire and see what it actually looks like and whether we like it? Yeah, threading up. Some people turn their board sideways and thread up from one side, and some people do both sides at once. Entirely up to you how you want to do this. Often a good idea to put a little clip on the end though, to stop all your beads falling off. Let's have a little look at this and see what it looks like. We can always take it apart and start again. Yep. I found one of these, but you can use any sort of clip at all, or a peg or a bulldog clip, just to stop your beads coming off the end, because there is nothing more annoying than losing beads off the end of your wire. So popping one of those on there, and just keep going. And then we'll take a little look at it. One thing I didn't try when I was doing a little mock-up was putting this small bead against the rhinestones, but I think that looks all right. Let's keep going. And as you're going along, you constantly need to be checking your pattern, that you don't make a mistake, that you don't muddle your beads up, and that both sides of the necklace are even. To me, the most important part is the focal at the front. And then I generally tend to get smaller beads as I'm going around the back of the neck, because I personally find smaller beads more comfortable. And they don't catch up in my hair so much. And of course, you don't need large beads around the back of your neck, well, particularly if you're like me, you've got long hair and nobody's going to see it. And the friend that I'm making this for, Jane, has got long hair. She wears it to shoulder length and doesn't normally tie it up, so no one's going to see the beads around the back of the neck. So I will use smaller beads round there. I'll get this done and we'll have a look at it. Actually, the threading up doesn't take so long. It's the making the decision of what you're doing that takes the time. Okay, so what do you guys think? First of all, we have got them even. Yep, we have got them even. don't know. What do you lot think? I personally don't like that small bead next to that. Just doesn't look right. And I'm not really sure about the rhinestone rondelles. In the light that I'm in, they're looking a bit gold tone. And I think they've lost their sparkle a bit. Don't know. What do you think? I think that looks all right as the focal. I'm not too sure about this, and I'm not too sure about that. So I'm going to take them off and start again. And I'll show you when I've done that. Okay, I've made it up with every other bead being one of the clear crystals, which are very sparkly, look very nice. And then I've gone for the large silver, 3 of those as a central, then 3 black interspersed with the clear crystals, then 3 large silver and 3 black. And next job I need to do is check it and make sure that I haven't made a mistake in the pattern. So you just put the 2 sides together, make sure they're equal on both sides, and they are. What do you think? I think it could, like, it's very sparkly, looks quite nice. The next job is to actually put a clip on the ends and try it on. Hold it up against your neck and see actually how it looks. So that'll be my next job. It measures at the moment about 12 inches long. And as I said, I wanted 16. So I'll probably use these small silver beads and fill up around the back of the neck with the small silver beads. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. First things first, let's try it on and see what I think. Well, it's a real Bobby Dazzler, but I think my friend will like it. It's very similar to the necklace that she asked me to make. And obviously we've still got to make a set of 3 bracelets and a pair of earrings. But I think for the necklace, I say we'll have a little look how we're going to finish that off. And I'll come back to you in a moment when I've decided what I'm going to do. So I've added a few more of the smaller beads for around the neck. And if we measure this now, it's coming up to just under 8 inches. So doubled, that'll be 16. And by the time I've added a clasp, that definitely will be just over 16 inches. Oh, and I'm not on camera again. There we go. I'll just show you there. Just under the 8 inches. So perfect for a choker length necklace. Now, before you do anything, before you add a clasp or anything, you just need to double check that you've got the pattern correct and the same number of beads on both sides. What do you think? Would you have done it differently? I think once you've got it tried on, that's quite a sparkly one. Right, I'll go and find a clasp. Okay, I've been into my supplies. Here I have got a extension chain and lobster clasp taken from another necklace. So already intact. 2 crimp tubes and 2 clamshell connectors. Sorry, jiggled the camera there. 2 clamshell connectors. So what I'm going to do is I've tried this on again and made sure that I am happy with how it's looking. So next thing you need to do, go in through the back of your clamshell. I need to take my glasses off for this. Through the back of your clamshell, you see there, pop that onto there, and your little crimp tube there. Now your first crimp can be right at the end, and right at the end, and what you need to do is just crimp it, give it a really good squeeze so that it doesn't move, and then you can pop your clamshell up over your crimp. The clamshell just helps to hide the crimp, and just close it up. There you go, and give it a good tug. Make sure that it's not going to, sometimes these crimps give up on you, so give it a good tug, make sure it's not going to give on you at all. And that, there we go. I'll just close the clamshell up a little bit with my pliers, and there you go, that's one end done. This, because I've used it before, has got a clamshell already on it, a used clamshell with an old crimp inside. So to open a jump ring, never pull it apart, always twist it. So I'm going to throw the old clamshell and the old crimp away from the last project, and pop this one on, and again using 2 pairs of pliers, just twist and make sure that these two meet and that they're nicely closed so that your clamshell cannot come out. There we go. Right, that's one end done. So now what I need to do is move all of the beads down to the end and check that they're all nicely down on this end. And when I crimp the other side, I like to have this slightly bent, because I don't know if you've ever experienced it, where the beads have been so tight and they've been clammed so tightly together that they don't move. This needs to have a little bit of flexibility in it, but not too much. Then again, we do the same thing again. So open your clamshell up, pop your wire through the back, pop your crimp on, making sure, one last check, that this is nicely popped down to the end, and then you need to obviously get your pliers in here. You see what I'm doing? Get your pliers right down to the beads, make sure the beads are nice and tight, and crimp. Give it a good hard squeeze, but you don't want to overwork it because these can give up. Right, and then a nice little tug on there, and just make sure that that is secure, that it's not going to give at all before you cut the wire. Just give it a tug. That's nicely done. Right, wire needs to be cut. Obviously you don't want a large piece of wire digging in the back of your neck. Okay, and you can close your clamshell up. Some people like to put a dab of glue inside of there. Hopefully it shouldn't be necessary if your crimp is a good enough quality one. Give it a little tug, make sure it's not going to give, that the crimp isn't going to fail. And I have had crimps fail on me. This just needs to be done up nice and tightly. Then I can remove this old clamshell again from the extension chain. Pliers. It's nice to upcycle as much as you can, so it's nice to reuse lobster clasps and chains. And then that goes through like that, and do it up. And like I say, wiggle it until it's nicely closed. There you go. And we have a necklace. I forgot to say, before you do anything with an old second-hand lobster gloss, check that it works okay. And there, let's move my pliers out of the way so you can see what we've made, is a necklace. Lovely and sparkly. Hopefully, my friend Jane will like it. If she doesn't, I'll be keeping it for myself. What do you think? There you go. Right, now we've just got to make matching earrings and 3 bracelets. I'll get started on those. Right, here I have a bamboo bracelet board, which is quite nice. These channels are about 7 or 8 inches long, which is quite nice. So I can actually think about planning these out. What I'll actually do is make 3 completely, well, not completely different. I'll use the same beads, but 3 different bracelets in slightly different styles, so that they can be worn as a stack and they'll match the necklace. They'll have the same beads as the necklace, but they'll all be slightly different, and you could wear them separately if you wanted to. So that is my plan at the moment. And what I did think looked quite nice together were these little rhinestone rondelles. I thought they looked nice with the black, but when you put them against the silver, I think they looked a little, I suppose it's just a different shade of silver. So I was thinking that I might just do one bracelet that is just black and rhinestones. So that'll match the necklace, but be in a way different. So we could do that as one bracelet. I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to need because the rhinestones won't sit up. But sorry, banged the thing again, banged the camera again. And then I thought we could, I've got enough of these that I can just keep going until I've made a sensible length for a bracelet. So we could have one like that. Then we could have, decisions. We could have one with alternating silver and crystals again, because we've got plenty of these glass crystals. Maybe they're almost the same size. Oh, there goes one on the floor. How about with the smaller ones that we used around the back of the neck? Oh. We could make one like that. I'm not going to use the little seed beads because they were, just make one like that. And then I could make, using the larger beads that we used, I could, I wonder if they would look good with the black, or just trying to mimic what we did on the necklace, which was to alternate these. What do you lot think? Yeah. What do you think? Shall we have a go like that? Got plenty of, oh, wrong colour bead. Got plenty of beads, so we could do something like that. I think they'd look quite nice all stacked together. Or we could do an alternate, a silver and a black. Oh, that might be quite nice. Oh, I like that idea. That ties them all together quite nicely. So silver, black, silver, black, silver, black. Yeah, that quite works quite well. Okay, I'll thread some of those up and come back and show you. See what you think. Okay, here I have some clear bracelet elastic in a 1mm thickness. So now I'm going to cut off about, I suppose, somewhere between 10 and 12 inches. I like to pre-stretch my elastic. I think it helps it from going baggy and saggy when we've finished with it. And when I'm stringing these, I often just put a little clip on the end so that they don't fall off. So let's just start off with this one. Oh. These bracelet elastics come in all different sizes, so if your beads won't thread on easily, you can go down to a 0.8mm or even down to a 0.5. But of course, the thicker it is, obviously the stronger. Where did that go? Oh well, get another one. The stronger it is. So literally just threading them on. I tend to make my elasticator bracelets for an adult to about 7.5 inches. But one of the easiest ways to do it, to decide when you've done enough, is to actually just try it on. And what I have forgot to do, which I'll do in a moment, is tell you what size these beads are. I mean, obviously these videos I'm using upcycle beads, so you wouldn't be able to make exactly what I've made. But hopefully it'll give you inspiration to actually take broken pieces apart and make your own. Because it's important that we save as much as we can from landfill. Too many things these days are just used and thrown away. And these beads, well, as far as I'm concerned, they're beautiful. There's nothing wrong with them. You know, the fact that some of these bracelets had given up and the elastic had gone, well, that happens. Doesn't mean that the beads should be thrown in the bin. Let's just steal some from the next row. Okay. I'll have a little go, see if this is the right size. What do you think? I quite like that. I quite like the combination. Yep. So, I think size-wise, we're nearly there. I think one more of those. Just to finish the pattern up, it needs a black bead and a clear. No, it doesn't need a clear. Now let's have a little look and see how that is doing size-wise. I think that'll be absolutely fine, size-wise. Okay. I'm just going to give it a bit more of a stretch the silver bead has a bigger hole. So if I end with a silver bead, then hopefully I can get the knot to actually go into the silver bead. So knotting these, I always pull it tight so that there's not too much stretch. And then you want to go once, twice, and then you want to do that in the other direction. So, oh, and also it's nice to actually loop the thread underneath and go in the opposite direction. Once, twice. I don't know if these knots have any special name or not, but there you go. And one more time, just to secure it and pull it tight. And some people put a dab of glue on. I've never found that I've needed to, but if you want to, that's entirely up to you. One thing I would check is, I've heard of people, the glue actually causing the elastic to perish. So I suppose it's some sort of chemical reaction. Okay, and then if you've got a large hole bead, you can actually get your knot to go into the bead. Just pull it into the bead so that it doesn't show. Okay, there's one bracelet. What do you think? And then on to the next bracelet. Right, one bracelet down, next bracelet. I was just going to make a small bracelet. So another piece of elastic. Give it a good stretch. And away I go beading again. And there we go. A 3 bracelet stack. What do you think? And we've got some small beads, some black beads with rhinestones in between, and some of the larger beads. So it mirrors the necklace and can be worn as a set. What do you think? Next job, make some earrings. Right, we've got several beads left. Quite a large selection here and quite a few bits over here. And we need to make some earrings. I've dug out some head pins, some eye pins and some ear wires. So we can have a little think about what we need to do. I'm thinking, because we've used predominantly, we've put a crystal in almost everywhere and quite a lot of black beads. So I'm thinking maybe we just need to think about a stack, maybe. A black bead. This is where you just play around, putting things on. Just thinking, do we want to just do a simple? It's a bit boring, isn't it? This is where you just play around until you've got what you want. That's quite a large earring. I quite like it though. It does reflect all the parts that we've used, but it does make quite a big earring. What have we got here? Black, crystal. What do you think? I think it goes quite well with the set. Is it too big? Quite a nice little stack, isn't it? Is it too big? But then you want it to incorporate the parts that you've used. Let's try it. Now, 2 ways of making a loop at the top. 2 different ways. One, you can use a one-step looper, where you just pop that into your looper, move the clampy jaw things almost down to where oh. Move the clamp jaw things all the way down to the beads, push your beads down, and there you go, you have a loop. Nice and easy. I'll do that again so that I've got a matched pair. So through there, down to there, push the beads down, and there you go. Easy peasy. The other way, if you haven't got a one-step looper to make a loop, is find a pair of round nose pliers. You need a pair of round nose pliers. And I'll just get a small, there you go. I'll just use a small looper to show you. You put, so imagine I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make a little there you go, not one of those. I've had a thought, bear with me a second. The other way to make a loop, let's put that on there like that, is pop your little beads on, whatever you need to do. Then twist your wire at a 90-degree angle. I'm finding this quite difficult because it is such a small bead, but twist your wire at a 90-degree angle, chop it off at about 1 centimetre, pop some round nose pliers into there, make sure that that is absolutely flat, and then rotate. And you make a little loop, close it up, and there you go. So you can make them using round nose pliers, or you can make them using a one-step looper to make your little earrings. Now, these earrings, all you need to do to connect them to the ear wires is just open the loop, and again you do it like you do a jump ring, open it to, and this one doesn't want to be picked up. I like to put these the joins at the back so that they're not quite so obvious, and then just close it up again. Give it a pinch, and voila. And same with the next one. Open it, pop your ear wire on, and close. Come on. And close. little pinch. There you go. And this, where did I put it? This little loop that I've just made here, I am going to put on the end of my extension cord. I thought that would look quite pretty down there. So again, we're just going to open this little loop that I've just made, pop it on here and close it up again. There. Right, a bit of a pinch and there we go. So we have lots of beads left over. Necklace, matching earrings and 3 bracelets. What do you think? Is that what you would have made with this little lot? I've still got plenty of beads left over, so I can make something else. And I've also got the pearl beads that we started with at the beginning. So lots more material still to work with. Thank you very much for watching. Join me soon where I'll be doing even more unbaggings and another upcycle. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.